I finished the Capalina summer hat, another batch of scrunchies, as well as I booked progress on both the LapsangTea shawl and the Mosaic blanket Fleur. Let's get into this week's yarn talk video. Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Tina and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as always, we can't talk yarn without my faithful mug of tea. And today this is just a classic Russian Earl Grey. So an Earl Grey tea with a flavor of lemon basically. And as I mentioned in the start of this video, in the introduction, yes, I did finish up a new batch of scrunchies. In fact, I finished up 16 scrunchies of various colors, 4 of each of these. This would be the one they call blue, even though it does seem like a black blue. The mint, in the peridot green, and in a raspberry. So more scrunchies done. And if I'm good, then I should have added these scrunchies, including the batch I made for the last yarn talk video, which I'd finished by then. I should have added all of these to my web store should you be interested in obtaining some scrunchies from me at buymuhai.com. Also, the link to this web store is in the description box down below. And also, I finished up the Capalina summer hat. And we talked about last time that I had not enough yarn to finish this. Plus, I had then ordered some in September with the yarn haul. And the thing is, the yarn I got, even though it's the same dye lot in the sense of it's the same colorway, it wasn't the same dye lot number. So as you can clearly see, there is a massive difference in these two, but they are both called the same. They're based dye lot 8. So, number 8. So dye lot's difference is definitely a visible thing. And due to the difference, it felt really weird only adding the tips here in this. So of course I decided we needed to kind of make it combined, and therefore I made a row of slip stitches here around. I have been debating if I should make more up here, but I haven't really gotten to that end conclusion. The other thing is, this row of slip stitches around does kind of collect the hat a little bit, so it makes it a little bit slimmer. I do believe I fit it, but I definitely wouldn't want extra up here, personally speaking. So it's gotten a little bit like, you know, I guess as a better fit on the sense of, but here we are. To some extent, I think it's really cute, but at the same time, my ears kind of make it flap on the side. I could also, oh, now I pulled it over my ears. Maybe that's better. Yeah, that's better. I'm not sure this is how I personally would be wearing, but I do actually like the end result of it. Like, I think it's really cute. It's just, end result isn't 100% my style. Like it? I think it really cinched the two pieces together, but I'm still not completely sure if I really wanted to do something on the top edge to kind of, I have the yarn to do it, but I actually think it's nice just how it is. So, yeah. Hat done and dusted. I like the extra adjacent here. It kind of puts it a little bit together, even though it's sort of a semi-scrap feeling project, so to say, right? So, end result? Okay, I would say it's approved. Then, what else have I been doing since the last yarn talk video? I have been working on Fleur, believe it or not. I hadn't done a lot previous week, but this week we have been working, and we are now at a stage where one row takes me about 2.5 hours or so to complete. Depending if I get disturbed and whatnot, sometimes a bit longer, sometimes a bit less, but it's time I really need to sit down and do, and I guess I have a lot of other things to do. But the bottom line is we are now at row 97 out of 129. So we are definitely progressing towards 100, and it would be amazing. You know, it's kind of like a party. I broke row 100 when we get there, because this blanket has really been a long way under its works. I just finished a row of the colorway Emperor, which is this dark purple. I have one more row left to go with this before we do change the color. So I'll have to do row 99 in this. And then a row 101, we are going to change to the French navy that I already had caked up as well. I got that caked up since last yarn talk video, as well as obviously we added 2 more rows up here. So the rows you can't really completely see added because you know, the white here is kind of being hidden by the purple. So technically height width wise, it's only a double crochet width, because with mosaics you do single crochet or double crochets either in the front or the back loop only. And the single crochets goes into the back loop only of the previous row, and the double crochets go into the front loop of the row before. So for example, if I'm to do white here, I would do them down in this row of whites for the double crochets. And then if I would prepare for a double crochet row, I would likely do single crochets in the back loops too. Like let's say I want to collect these completely. I would then do the double crochets in all the white here in those front loops. Then here in those 5 stitches, I would do single crochets in the back loop of the purple up here. Then I will go back and do double crochets here. And then the following row, I could kind of adjoin them, but that would be like 2 rows later on. So you really need to think ahead. And I'm really grasping the concept of this mosaic after being 2 years busy with a blanket, I know. And it's size-wise, you know, we're soon at a place where it's really difficult for me to stretch it. But it is just gorgeous. I really like how it's turning out. I'm not sure if I would be permanently working on a blanket like this though, because I really feel like I like to see progress, right? I like to, and I can see progress here, but I like to also be able to finish things. Because when you, and that would be the center, because when you finish things, you get this feeling of accomplishment. And this feeling of accomplishment will be so much bigger because it's a bigger project, yet it's taking so long before I can get the feeling. I am going to try to see if I can fold this a little bit together again. So this is in a quarter, right? So it is gonna be a nice big blanket, definitely. And as said, we're heading to blue. We're heading to blue. French navy to be more exact. And can I do that for the next yarn talk video? Yes, I can. Can I do it within the month of October? Maybe. So the reason why I'm saying this is I am definitely busy this weekend, and as we just concluded, I need time, plenty of time to sit down and work on this. It's not just something I'll do a little on here and there, because, you know, when I take it out, I'll need at least like an hour to be able to work on it to make some sort of progress. But also, you may have noticed that it's been 2 weeks since last yarn talk video, but last week, Friday, I were live. And the reason for this is I really want to finish this blanket this year. It's like, bottom line, goal, done. Because once it's done, it's mentally gone. I can focus on a lot of other things. And because it's taken so long, it's this, you know, wanting to clear out. It's a whip. It's still in progress since I don't know when we've been talking about it for almost 2 years, like 22 months more or less to be exact, which is quite a bit. And that means that I won't have an awful lot of time to do other projects. And therefore, yarn talk weekly to mainly say, hey, I progressed on Fleur, and that's pretty much it. Seemed a bit crazy. I do have some other projects I'm working on because only doing that is impossible for me. But this means that I am, at least for the coming few weeks, moving my yarn talks to be just once every 2 weeks, and then every second Friday I will try to be live. And so far it's fitting, which means that obviously today we have a yarn talk video, but next week Friday instead I'll be live. And when I've been live so far, the last couple of times I've been live, we have been working on the LapsangTea shawl, and we still are. And that will be my live project, and maybe to some extent, if I just have half an hour to crochet and it's too complicated to find out Fleur, I'll be working a bit on the shawl as well. But generally, I think it's mainly gonna be my lives the coming few weeks. And of course, it's another shawl I just like to finish. I like to get it blocked. I am working with absolutely gorgeous yarn. It is a Stenli cake. It's a Stenli Muffin Mini Lux. That is, originally it was 250 grams of yarn. It is a 4-stranded yarn. 3 strands of acrylic and 1 strand of lurex. So that's the silver thread you see going through it all. And we are heading into these lighter purples right now. We're soon having to go another yarn color change, where we're going from, right now we have 2 solid purples and a lighter purple and the lurex thread, and that should turn into a 1 darker purple and 2 lighter purple threads somewhere soon. I can see some of them having the double layering, so it's not gonna be long. It's definitely not gonna be long. 250 gram cake is 8.8 ounces. 1,000 meters long is 1,093 yards. How far I get and how big the shawl will become, I don't know. We'll see. The LapsangTea shawl is designed by Teapot Atlier. I've put a link to where you can procure this pattern in the description box down below. The same goes for the Mosaic blanket Fleur, also on Ravelry, description box down below for you who are interested. And meanwhile, I'm actually going to move this on the other side because of how the front and back of this shows. I do have a starting thread. I'm going to put that a bit behind. Here we are. This is how far we have gotten. And you can see some of it. But reality is, this shawl, my friends, is the most gorgeous once it's blocked. So we have to finish it up and we have to block it. And of course, I'll show you the final finished blocked version. When it blocks, it stretches a bit because you can already see that here, like there is a stretch to it, which is not yet obtained. And that means that it will grow. So this shawl will grow once it's blocked. I am almost, well, wait a minute. I think I am. I did the second full repeat of the pattern. So this is on the second full repeat, as you can see. And we're heading into the third. The designer says that she does 3 repeats. That's her shawl. I will see how much yarn I have left and I will try to adjust and judge row by row what I think would make sense. And it can be that I end up making the edge or the second or third row before the edging slightly ever so different, just to accommodate for the ability to kind of extend the shawl. Because what I do want to do is I want to use up as much of this yarn as possible for the purpose of the shawl. And whatever I have left, I'll figure out what I'll do with that. I do still have some other Stenli Muffin Mini Lux laying around, different colorway though. Which I don't know what I'm going to be using for either, but that was just not enough yarn to finish the next section, so to say. And I'm basically going to do the same with this shawl. We are going to see how far we can extend it based on the yarn we have available, and to get the biggest possible shawl, and then we'll block it. And I'm definitely looking forward to showing you guys the block version of this, because that is going to be absolutely stunning. I have like 0 doubts about that. I'm using a 3.75mm crochet hook or an F hook. Next time I'm working with this yarn, I might consider upsizing the hook to either a 4 or a 4.5 millimeter. But that's not completely defined yet. Those two crochet hooks are sort of in use for other projects. The 4 millimeter I'm using for Fleur, and the 4.5 I've been using for scrunchies. Not an issue to share hooks. I just like to sort of keep it coordinated, I guess. I do have some more scrunchies to make. Scrunchies have been kind of my go-to when I've been watching television with my partner, or if I've been in the car on the way somewhere where I just need a quick project to bring with me to kind of entertain myself. I do believe 6 more skeins left of this Go Handmade velvet double that I've been using for the scrunchies here. And I am gonna make up those 6 skeins into scrunchies. So there's going to be another 6x4 because I get about 4 scrunchies out of a skein, and then I have enough left to, I will need another skein to start, like, you know, like if I had 2 skeins, I would probably be able to make 9, so it's like 4.5, but I'm not gonna make like half a scrunchie. So I'll just put the rest in my scrap pile, and I have one big bag only with the velvet yarns. Maybe I'll make scrap scrunchies one day. Maybe I'll consider even making a hat or something nice, because it is a wonderful soft yarn. I can definitely see myself wearing that as a very cozy shrug or something like that. Not made yet, obviously, but I can definitely see myself doing that. And that could also be made out of leftover yarns. Why not? Like, you know, there is right now a sort of a fashion to knit and crochet out of your scraps to make different sort of wearables and so on, to sort of exploit and use the most possible amount so nothing goes to waste. And I really like that idea. So that might be something I'm considering. It could also be that I'm just gonna try knit a rib knit beanie or something like that with the scraps, and just attach the yarns as I run out of color, and see if I can like sort of color coordinate it a little bit so it looks at least half decent. That's definitely also been on my thinking list as an option for this. But as I said, I haven't really finally decided what I'll be doing yet. Then I also wanted to cast on yarn for a rib knit beanie. And we've talked about it a few times, but I didn't reach to cast on yet. First, I had to do some math. And that was basically because I needed to calculate how much, the needle size I was going to use. And the conclusion is, I think that my square needles are too small. So I have these 2 yarns, which I'm gonna make into, like, I'm gonna color combine them, and I'm gonna double layering them with this. That's gonna turn into a chunky, lovely, warm, hopefully, knit beanie. Just a leftover thingy. And, you know, I'm happy to have the yarns used. And I've calculated on it, and we are into definitely bulky or chunky weight once these gets all layered and doubled up. These yarns are 50 grams to 70 meters. So that's, if it was a 100 gram skein, it would be 140 meters. And they call for needles, actually the Lena, I do have the labels for them still. 80 meters, sorry. Still doesn't change much. 70% acrylic, 30% wool. I have about half left of both, and I needed 1.5 for a rib knit beanie. And for those, I used 6 millimeter knitting needles. Yes. Then I have here the Julia, which is 20% wool and 80% acrylic, 100 grams to 170 meters. So it's 10 meters longer, but they're pretty close weight-wise. Like, they're almost identical, not completely, but almost. And they call for a 7 to 8 millimeter knitting needles, or 6 to 7 millimeter crochet hooks. Doubling them, and 8 millimeter is definitely going to be too small. So I've made the conclusion we are going to have to upsize, which means that I believe that these they stop here at 8. 8 is the biggest. 8 millimeters won't suffice. It's just how it is. So I need to look back into the set that I inherited this spring. I inherited this set. I wouldn't say I inherited from Mama yet. I would say I did. She got it as a part of this group she's helping, and it was in there. And well, here it is. And it's just a cheap set of needles, but it works. But what this has, it has a lot more sizes to choose between, because that will be the 8 millimeters. Here we have 9 millimeters, and here we have 10. Then we go into, let's say, 10.5, 11, 13, and 15. So 10, 11, and 10, 10.5, 11, 13, and 15. Yes, I can find needles to fit the project. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am gonna cast them on, probably either I think the 9 is, when I looked at Yarn Advice policies, they said 9 to 10 millimeters. So I'm gonna do either the 9 or the 10s. I'm not completely decided yet which would make more sense. I think I might do the 9. Anyhow, when I get much higher than 10, I don't have double pointed needles anymore to help with the closing. So I prefer not to go that direction. Yeah, I'm gonna use this set. I will though just check for funsies if my swivel attachments might fit this set, because that would be amazing. Because that does make it a little bit easier for the knitting. I'll definitely reach to cast this one on before next Yarn Talk video. But when I reach to cast them on, I don't know yet. But I will definitely reach to cast them on. Have I finished it by then? I don't know, it depends. Also depends on how quickly that flows. It should go quick because it's thick needles. And once it's done, it's done. I don't know if I'll be able to knit it long enough to do a double brim. And that's not super important right now. I just want to kind of make a hat and say, hey, it's useful. And I used up the yarn. And it makes sense, right? So back to the concept of trying to use everything and make everything have a purpose. So you don't just like throw it out for some whatever reason. The idea of using up the scraps is amazing. So I like that. So support and kudos to everybody using up their scraps. Maybe we all should make a bit of an effort doing so. I think that was pretty much it. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to see you next week, both Wednesday and Friday, for a live. If you are wanting to say hello to me there, that would be about 2 p.m. Central European time that I will start, depending on work, everything like that. I could be a little bit late, but generally, so that is around 8 a.m. Central, but not Central, Eastern. That said, it might be different. It might be an hour early next week, because here in Europe this weekend, we are going back to winter time. That means that we are going back in time, and going back in time means that we technically get a little bit closer to you guys in the US time zone wise. So that's going to be an earlier rise for you guys if you feel like joining in. Looking forward to seeing you then. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to share this video. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. And I'm going to say take care and happy crafting. Until I see you again. Bye.